The best career advice I ever had. So when I look back on my IT journey, I was fortunate enough to encounter some good people as well as come across a lot of issues. So thinking back on those days helped me to put together this list of the best career advice I ever had. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, the notification bell, and if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, please rate me and leave me a review as this does help out the channel. So stay tuned. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested, you come to the right place. So the first on my list of the best career advice I ever had is don't be afraid to make mistakes. So I remember when I first started working for a larger enterprise, I was working in operations, I worked second shift. So I was coming in during shift change. So if any of you have worked at a call center or worked on the phone, so doing phone support, during shift change, that's when it's real busy. You have those users that's about ready to get off, they're reporting issues, and then you have the people that's logging on, coming in to begin their shift, having issues. So around this time, I come in as a computer operator. I come in, get signed in and everything. I get ready for my first call, the phone ring, and to my luck, my first call was a server issue or application issue that was going on where someone needed to be contacted. So at the time, I'm new, not knowing who to contact. I believe I asked my coworker who to contact. They gave me the name. I called that person. That person was real nice. On talking to them, they realized that I was new. So they gave me one piece of advice that stuck with me my whole career. They told me to never be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes on the job. And pretty much if you're not making mistakes, then you're not learning. So if you think about it, if you're coming in new, you're not going to know everything. So you're going to make mistakes. So when you get out in the field yourself, don't be afraid to make mistakes. So the next good piece of advice I've had in my career, piggybacking on not being afraid to make mistakes, is to learn from those mistakes. So there will always be a time where you make a mistake. It's whether you made it intentionally or maybe you didn't know, but you're going to make a mistake. And sometimes it's going to be a big mistake where you might take down a whole unit if you're in networking, or you might take down the whole enterprise if you're in security working on firewalls. But the thing is, learn from those mistakes. So most of the time when you make a mistake, the first thing you want to do is own up to it. So if all of a sudden everything's quiet and something's going on, you pretty much want to own up to it. Say, oh, I was trying to implement this change, or I was trying to do this and I made a mistake. So the first thing is own up to it. So then once you own up to it, and you most of the time your team will probably help you to get that issue resolved. So after you get it resolved, you want to think back on it and kind of see where you went wrong and try to learn from that mistake. Because if you think about it, my whole career, I can't really remember a lot of good days. And there was more good days than bad days, but the good days you hardly ever remember. But I can pretty much remember every day that I made a mistake because I learned from it. I put it down in my notebook that, oh, okay, when this happens, I need to do this. That way I won't make that mistake again. So my second piece of advice is learn from your mistakes. So the next good piece of advice I got during my career is to be a team player. So nobody wants to work with no one that's hard to get along with. So in the IT industry, everything evolves around your team. So you're either going to be on the networking team, you're going to be on the security team, you're going to be on the desktop team. And a lot of times, some of the issues you may have to collaborate as a team, or you may have to go as a team to help resolve that issue. Like if you're in desktop and a whole unit goes down, something with their PCs, then pretty much one person ain't going to be able to get that unit up. You're going to need your whole team up there working together to work through that issue and get that issue resolved. So most of the time, like I said, you want to be a good team player. Nobody loves working with an asshole. So be a team player. Everybody sees everything different, but that's actually a pro because sometimes you may be looking at things in one way when your teammate or your coworker may have a different way. And then once they tell you their way, it may be a better way of actually resolving an issue. And then also, if you're the lowest man on the totem pole, meaning if you're entry level, you're just coming in, then being a good team player goes a long way. And then also, by you, the lowest man coming in, you have coworkers that's been there longer than you. So pretty much one of those coworkers may end up becoming your mentor. So for me, pretty much in every position I held, I had a mentor in that position. I remember in operations, I had a mentor. You had your supervisors too, but still I have a mentor. Then when I got in desktop, I had a mentor, someone who taught me all about everything down in desktop. You still get training, but still you're gonna find those couple of people that, hey, you pretty much can ask anything about the position. And then the same thing when I got in networking, I always had a mentor. So, it's nothing wrong with having a mentor. And pretty much, with that mentor, you can pretty much ask them anything. And then also, they can tell you when you did something wrong. So they can tell you, oh, this is how you should have did it. Or if you did something which may have taken you 2 hours that they know a way it could have took 30 minutes. So it's always good to learn from somebody who's been doing that position longer than you have. So don't forget, when you get in the IT industry, be a team player. If you're finding value in this episode and you're listening via YouTube or your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review or a comment. If you have a friend who might need to hear this, please share this episode with them. So the next good piece of advice I've had over my career is to be good at time management, to work on time management. So coming from an industry such as before I got in IT, I think my last job before that, I was working at like an advanced auto parts. So coming from somewhere like that to where it's more, you know, you're multitasking, but it's kind of like a different way. It's like you're doing more face to face. So pretty much advanced auto, someone come in, I ring them up. They had issues finding something, then I help that one customer, then move on to the next customer. But when you get in the IT industry and you start moving up the ladder, you're going to start getting projects. And then so with these projects going to have a time on them. So they're going to have a due date. Oh, we need to have this implemented by this date. You got a month to work on it. Oh, we need to have this implemented by this date. You have 2 weeks to work on it. So when you start getting these projects, just because you have a project doesn't mean that your day-to-day activities stop. So you're going to have to become good at managing your time. So you're going to have to be able to devote time to working on your project to make sure you meet that deadline, as well as still handling any issues that come up. What's good is you do have a team, so sometimes the team might be able to alleviate some of the issues in the day-to-day activities, but then it might be some things that come up that may be your specialization. So it may be one piece of equipment that's having an issue that you're the one that knows that piece of equipment in and out. So getting good at time management, being able to manage your time, that's going to come in handy for helping you out when you get in the IT industry, especially as you move up the ladder and start getting different projects under your belt. So next on my list with the best career advice I ever had is you want to build a strong professional network. So while you're on your job, you're going to encounter a lot of people. If you're one person that goes to different jobs, you have many jobs, then you pretty much had a chance to build a strong network. So at every job, you're going to meet someone that you just click with. You're going to meet someone, you're going to become friends, even when y'all leave and go to different jobs, different opportunities, you still may stay in touch. So you want to build that strong network. And then as well in the IT industry, a lot of companies, when these big networking companies or IT companies have conferences, like Cisco has live every year. So pretty much some companies send their employees off to that job or send half of their employees one year, the other half the next year. Either that way someone's there to cover the enterprise in case something happens. But at these events here, you're able to network and connect with other people that's into the same thing as you. You never know where that could lead you. So, you never know who you meet. A lot of times I got in a good habit when I go out to like different restaurants and bars and stuff. If I'm at a bar and I'm just talking, a lot of times I like to introduce myself to whoever's beside me. And then, you never know with conversation. A lot of times I have been talking to someone there in the IT industry just like I am. So I have been talking to someone who may have been trying to get to a networking position. Then I was able to, provide them my feedback on it. So you never know who you're talking to. Just make sure you build that strong professional network. That's one good piece of career advice I can give. So that brings me to the end of this episode. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can follow me at Debt Free in IT. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at debtfreeinit@gmail.com. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.